I'm at a bit of a loss of what to say. It was better than the QPR game. Hello everybody, it's Ian here once again from OUFC FanView, and it's time for another review of another Oxford United game. Today, the U's were back at home. They were at home to Sheffield Wednesday. There's no sugarcoating it. Oxford United are in terrible form and are plummeting down the table. The game we had on Wednesday night against QPR was pretty much pitiful. To say it was lacklustre was a huge understatement, and Oxford needed a response. We needed at the very least to show some fight. And for the first half, I thought we did. I thought Oxford United played all right in the first half of this game. Could have gone in leading, but they didn't. And once Wednesday got into the lead, the Owls of Owlerton stamped their dominance over this one and ran out pretty comfortable winners overall. Congratulations to Sheffield Wednesday and your fans, but it's another quite deflating and demoralising defeat for Oxford United. Where on earth do we go from here? Well, we'll talk about it in a minute, but this score finished Oxford United 1, Sheffield Wednesday 3. And we'll do what I always do on these videos. I'll go over the team news, I'll give my review of the game, highlighting the key moments, and then I'll give my final thoughts for both sides at the end of the video. You can jump to any point of the video. If you just want to see the final thoughts, that's absolutely fine. You can use those timestamps that I put down below. But I would encourage you to watch the whole thing. Watch my misery unfold. But either way, please hit that like button because that does help me out a heck of a lot. And if you do like the content, you can help me on my march towards 2,000 subs by hitting that subscribe button. So let's have a look at Oxford's team for today's fixture. And after Wednesday's horror show, not Sheffield Wednesday, we played on Wednesday against QPR. What was Buckingham going to do? Well, he made 3 changes, and I think we could all be happy with the changes that he made. First of all, Dane Scarlett replaced Mark Harris up front, but we also saw a return for the side for Ruben Rodriguez, and we actually saw Owen Dale getting a rare start as well. It was Shami Plaheta and Matty Phillips who dropped out of the side. No Will Vaulks in the starting 11 up against his old club, which is a little bit surprising. I thought he may have started today, but it does also mean that Tyler Goodrum is pushed back on the wing. Moving on to Sheffield Wednesday then, and Danny Rolls. Owls have had a bit of a mixed bag of a season so far. They did start the day in 12th place, but they were coming off the back of a couple of disappointing home results against Preston and Blackburn. Wednesday make 2 changes from the side that lost 1-0 to Rovers. Michael Smith returns up front instead of Anthony Masaba, and you have Gassama replacing Iorfa. Talismanic Barry Bannon is captain and starting in the centre of midfield. He usually does pretty well when he's here at the Kassam, and there are 2 ex-Oxford United players in the Sheffield Wednesday lineup. Marvin Johnson at left wing back and James Beadle, who was excellent on loan at Oxford on the first half of last season, starts in goal. Let's have a look at this first half. And straight off the bat, we all wanted a much improved performance from what we saw at QPR. It wasn't going to be hard for Oxford to do that, but I did think this was an improved first half from maybe what we have seen recently as well. Within the first 5 minutes of the game, Oxford had already caused some problems with their high pressing, creating some turnovers in dangerous areas. There was a chance for Dane Scarlett that came from one of these turnovers. He was on the edge of the box. It was quite a tame shot though, and it was easy for Beadle to save. But it's almost like whatever happens in this game, when Oxford have their first attack, it seems to wake the opposition up and stir them into life. And that's what seemed to happen, because Wednesday started quite well after the first 5 minutes as well. They had some early pressure and they thought they'd taken the lead through Michael Smith, who got in behind from a smart through ball. Tucked the ball away smartly as well, but he was given offside. Both sides were having spells of possession, but on 17 minutes, Oxford took the lead. It came first of all from a corner which went to the back post, and Brannigan did well to recycle it. A little dinked crossed back into the middle from Brannigan. Elliot Moore did excellently to flick it on, and it fell to Gregg Leigh unmarked, only about 6 yards out, and Leigh tucks it away. I think that's 3 or 4 goals. Is he our top scorer now for the season, Gregg Leigh? I think he still might just be behind Mark Harris. There was a hint of offside in it, but it wasn't given, and United were in the lead. Last time we took the lead in a game, we lost 6-2. What could possibly go wrong? But this was generally a good game of football and a pretty end-to-end game of football as well. We had an unbelievable passage of play on 25 minutes where both sides were just countering on the other, and it was, the cliche of it's a basketball game was in full effect. First, it was Oxford who had a chance for El Mazouni, and that came from Oxford, from Goodrum and Scarlett doing well to win the ball in the middle of the park. It just didn't sit right for Oxford, and El Mazouni was still presented with a good chance, and Beadle did well to beat it behind for a corner. But then from that corner, Brannigan got beaten to the ball by Johnson, and he was just in acres of space to fly down the left-hand side. It was like a 5-on-3 counter-attack for Sheffield Wednesday. It looked disastrous for Oxford, but the pass was overplayed. I think El Mazouni did pretty well, actually, in getting back to cover off the danger, and Oxford breathed a sigh of relief. But coming through the ball straight out, and Oxford were on the charge up the other end, and Tyler Goodrum played a low cross, an early cross in behind for Dane Scarlett. It looked easy for Beadle to save, but Beadle missed it. He missed it, and it looked like it was going to present Scarlett with a tap-in, but unfortunately it just ran a little bit too far away from Scarlett, and Wednesday were able to smuggle away the danger. I personally think Scarlett should have still scored from that chance, and Oxford fans, I'm just going to say, if that was Harris who would have missed that chance, what would you be saying? And to make matters worse, Oxford got punished by the next Sheffield Wednesday attack, and it's one of the poorest goals we've given away all season. 27 minutes on the clock, corner in from Sheffield Wednesday, quite a flat, low ball. Scarlett missed it at the near post, and Oxford just sort of switched off, and Windass was able to just jog in and tap it home. It was very, very soft. I mean, from a Wednesday point of view, good finish by Windass, but I'm not going to give Oxford too many pelters for that because it was bad, but we've been pretty good at defending corners this season. That's the first time we've really given away something soft, so I'm not going to give the back four too much of a hard time, but my goodness, we could have done without it. But the game continued to be end-to-end, and there were chances for both sides as we pushed towards the break. Oxford's next chance was another good one on 33 minutes. It was actually some good football played by United, and Rodriguez played a lovely ball down the line for Dale. It looked like again that Beadle should have come out to get it, but he stayed back, and it gave Dale a chance to get right in on goal. But once again, the angle was a little bit tight, and Beadle did his Peter Schmeichel, spreading himself like a starfish, and it went behind for a corner. But it was corners that were really causing Oxford's problems at the other end. There's another corner coming in from Sheffield Wednesday. This time Lowe gets his head on it, and it forced Cumming to make a pretty good save, actually, clawing it away. It would have gone in, not necessarily the top corner, but decent save from Cumming. And final chance fell to Wednesday again. Again, it was Johnson who got acres of space down the left-hand side. It should have, Oxford thought it was a foul on Goodrum, but it wasn't given, and it just meant Johnson could just fly down the left-hand side. A lovely cross in, low cross. It was begging to be tucked away, but somehow it just evaded everybody, and Oxford breathed a sigh of relief. And they got in to half-time at 1-1, and I actually thought it was a pretty decent game, and so much better from what we'd seen from Oxford on Wednesday night at QPR. The pressing was so much better, and the players were generally passing the ball around with a much higher tempo. Dale certainly was making a difference on his first start for a while. He's been electric, and it's just what Oxford United needed. El Mazouni and Rodriguez, I thought, were good as well. They were trying to break the lines, trying to run in behind Wednesday when possible as well, opening up space for other players coming in. But we just couldn't get that second goal, and we left that door open for Wednesday, and they got that equaliser. And Wednesday themselves do look quite dangerous when they can free Johnson down that left-hand side, or when they can hit early balls and get Smith to hold it up. He looks like he's a handful for Moore and Brown. But this was more like the Oxford United that we saw in the early parts of the season. And I'm just hoping that we can step it up in the second half and get that elusive win. No is the answer. Unfortunately, Oxford reverted back to the style of play that we've seen in recent weeks, and Wednesday didn't take long to take advantage of that. On 49 minutes, they took the lead in this game. They got space down their right-hand side this time with Valerie with an excellent ball in the box. Elliot Moore actually did really well to head this ball away, but it hit an Oxford player almost straight away after Moore headed it, and it bounced straight to Lowe, who could tap it in from about 8 yards out. It felt like a hammer blow because you know Oxford are just going to really struggle to get anything from this game now, and just really unlucky as well. I mean, whenever these sort of situations fall for us, we don't seem to be able to take advantage of them, but Wednesday didn't need a second invitation. And the game just drifted along then like we've seen games do. Wednesday were quite happy to just sit back then, let Oxford have the ball, knowing that they could hit us on the counter-attack. And Buckingham was a little slow to make the changes, in my opinion. And on 60 minutes, Wednesday killed this game off by making it 3-1. It was the best goal of the game by a mile. It was a superb goal from Sheffield Wednesday. Bannon played the ball into Smith, who touched it back to Gassama, who levered in a volley from about 25 yards out. Take your yellow hats off, Oxford United fans, and applaud this goal because it was a sensational strike, worthy of winning this game for Sheffield Wednesday, and the Owls barely looked back after getting into this 3-1 lead. And for the rest of the game, it looked more likely that Sheffield Wednesday were going to get a fourth than Oxford make it 3-2. But there were a couple of fleeting moments, a wonderful raking pass from Brannigan on 65 minutes, and an excellent first touch from Owen Dale. Looked like he was going to get through on goal, but Bernard got back to make an excellent challenge. And then you saw death by 1,000 corners for Sheffield Wednesday after they just seemed to get corner after corner after corner after corner and just keep that pressure on Oxford United. It took until 70 minutes for Buckingham to finally make changes, and we saw Rodriguez, Dale and El Masouni come off for Vaulks, Harris and Phillips. But again, Wednesday looked likely to slice Oxford open and make it 4-1, and they nearly did on 73 minutes, and they needed Jamie Cumming to make a couple of smart stops to keep the score down. Wednesday was sitting deeper, but it wasn't really hurting them at all, and Oxford really couldn't create much. And we finally saw Kyle Edwards come on with 10 minutes to go. Final chances of the game all fell to Sheffield Wednesday. There were others after this, but I didn't record them because I got a little bit depressed, to be honest. But Johnson was still looking lively on the left-hand side. His cross was tucked wide before a couple of minutes later, another cross from the other side saw Michael Smith miss probably the easiest chance he had in the game. And I can't believe he missed it and put it over the bar. But mercifully for Oxford, he did. And it got through to full-time, 3-1 to Sheffield Wednesday. In the end, pretty routine win for the Owls. So once again, congratulations to Wednesday and your fans. Oh, it's getting more and more dire by the game, Oxford fans, but let's move on to those final thoughts. And we'll start with the visitors in Sheffield Wednesday. And first of all, again, congratulations, Wednesday fans. How good is your side away from home? And how good is your side at coming from behind to win games? Another game where you've fallen behind, another game where you've gone back to get the points, this time getting all three. I thought straight away Michael Smith was a handful up front. I can't believe he didn't play in the last game you had against Blackburn. I thought, I can't understand why he doesn't play every game. He's just such a useful target man. But I thought in the first half you did look a little bit shaky at the back. A couple of moments that Oxford just didn't exploit where we could have get more than the goal that we got. I thought Johnson looked a really big threat down that left-hand side. Whenever Oxford got him space, gave him space, he was able to just maraud down there and put in some lovely crosses. Bannon pulled the strings like he usually does. But what a strike by Gassama to win that game. And I do just think Wednesday got 2-1 up in that game. I know you got 3-1 up as well after the hour, but you managed it really well. You really frustrated Oxford. You knew Oxford were really going to have to work hard to create chances, and we really didn't. And yeah, good win. Congratulations. Where can you go, Wednesday? Where can you go? Look, I work with a lot of Wednesday fans. I live in Sheffield, and I find you quite a defeatist bunch at times. Like before this game, all the Wednesday fans were telling me that Oxford were going to win because you were crap. And I was saying, well, we're crap as well. So it felt like the bragging rights was going to go to whoever lost the game. So I'm going to go in and say, see, I told you we were crap. But yeah, it just seems to always be one step forward, two steps back for you guys. You need to sort out your home form at Hillsborough. Or what needs to happen? Is this transfer embargo going to hamper you to have a decent go at the playoffs this season? Or are you just happy to be comfortable in the mid-table and then see where you go next year? Of course, you've always got those off the field issues with your wonderful owner. But congrats on the win again. Let me know your thoughts down below, and good luck for the rest of the season. I'll be there up in Hillsborough late in April when we go there. I just hope Oxford are still in with a chance of staying up. And that brings me on to Oxford United, and oh my goodness me. Oh, Oxford fans. Are you still enjoying the Championship? It is such a tough league, and as every week goes by, we're just finding ourselves more and more out of our depths, or so it seems. I will actually say I thought the performance in the first half was pretty good today. I thought Oxford showed that effort, they showed that fight that we wanted to see, but unfortunately we just gave away soft goals. The first goal was unbelievably soft. The second goal was a little bit unlucky, but once we went 2-1 down, I really just felt everybody was just, the shoulders just sank, and you just knew that we weren't going to get back into the game. And you can't get away from the overall worry of the fact that we looked at the end of November after we just lost to Sheffield United and thought, well, we're heading into December now. We've got a lot more manageable games, a lot more games where we can pick up points. But the more and more of these games go rolling by, the more and more we are just second best to the majority, if not all, of these Championship sides. So let's just talk about the little bright sparks that were there today. I thought Owen Dale looked really good in the game today. I thought he was by far and away Oxford's brightest spark. He should have scored. That's a down mark against him. He really should have scored. But I thought he added that tenacity, that intensity that has been lacking from a lot of Oxford players. And I thought his contribution in the first half was really good and kind of dragged Oxford into looking a more confident side. But I do just think in general in the first half the passing was a lot more crisp, and we did look a lot more of a threat, a lot more just one-touch passing and trying to get in behind sides. Oxford looked to try and go a bit more direct as well, work the channels, which was good to see. Unfortunately, all that kind of went away in the second half, and it just went back to Oxford being passive, slow, taking 5 or 6 passes to move it from one flank to the other. Just looked like really difficult for Oxford to carve out any chances, whereas in the first half I did think we looked pretty lively. Team selection I thought was all right today. I thought he got it right. Buckingham, I thought that 11 started the game was the right way to go. I would have been tempted to play Terra Vest in there today, but I thought in generally the performance was good in the first half. I mean, we just didn't take advantage of those chances that came our way. I mean, Scarlett virtually had an open goal, or he had a goal without the goalkeeper in it, and he really should have scored. There was a good chance for El Mazouni in there. There was a good chance for Dale. Oxford could have easily been 2-0 up in this game, could have easily been 3-1 up at half-time. It's a completely different game. We're not taking our chances, and it's coming back to haunt us, because when the opposition gets those little bits of luck, they stick it in the back of the net, and they do not need that second invitation. But I don't know why Buckingham took so long to bring the subs on. He could have brought them on after 5 minutes of the second half and changed things up a little bit. You could have at least brought Edwards on, especially I thought leaving Edwards for 10 minutes to go was pretty criminal in the game, really. You could have brought one of the midfielders off and pushed Brannigan further forward if you wanted to bring Vaux off. I thought he was a little bit too slow today to make those changes, and Oxford were too far behind the game when the changes came into it. But you can't help but be worried about what we've got at the top of the pitch in the striking department. I actually like Dane Scarlett. I do think he's good. I think he's a clever little... For a young guy, you know he's going to get so much better, but he's got those little tricks, those little turns, those little layoffs that he can do as well, which just means he should be starting the majority of the games. And I do wonder what it's going to take for Mark Harris to get back looking confident again, because even when he comes on, he doesn't seem like he's got that spark. I know he's called Sparky, but he doesn't have that spark that he had at the back end of last season, or what he started the season with. I hope he just needs a goal, because my goodness, he looks a bit of a shadow of the player at the moment. And again, I know a lot of you are going to say it, and I agree with you down in the comments. Will Goodwin should at least be an option off the bench as well. Why do we need so many defenders on there? You could bring Will Goodwin on, and you could have brought Will Goodwin on if he was on the bench for at least half an hour today. And if you thought that we could have played two strikers, that what we did end up doing with Scarlett and Harris, you could have had Goodwin up there, and you could have at least had a target man like what Wednesday had with Michael Smith. But it's looking bad. It's looking really bad, isn't it? We're not going to be relegated in December, whatever happens. Even if we lose every game until New Year, until that window opens, we're still not going to be relegated. So there still is time to pull out of this tailspin. But I know we're all desperate for that transfer window to come, and what changes can be made in that transfer window. Let me know your comments down below on that one. That will probably be a long thread for every game we have. But we've got a horrible game next week. On the fixture list, it looked like one of the marquee ties that you couldn't wait for. But now it's come around. I'm absolutely dreading this away trip to Leeds. And it's the last thing we need ahead of two absolutely crunch home games against Plymouth and against Cardiff. How confident are you of winning those games? Because for me, not very. It's a Plymouth side that are pretty hapless away from home, and you would think if we can't beat them, my goodness, what chances have we got? But it's pretty desperate times, Oxford fans. But, you know, it isn't over yet. We knew this was going to be a really brutally tough season, and it is proving to be so. There's plenty of other sides that are still struggling down the bottom, and things can change if you can just get a little bit of luck and a lucky win, but they don't look like coming anytime soon. Try to enjoy your evening. Look, it's nearly Christmas. Enjoy some eggnog or whatever it is you enjoy. And I'll be back to do a predictions video, I promise, this week. And then it's that rather brown trousers tie against Leeds United. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.